2026 podcast. For the people, by the people, Lansing Project 2026 is a framework for building collective, local resilience that starts by meeting everyone's basic needs. Our vision counters the division and destruction of Project 2025 by bringing neighbors together to strengthen connections and structure that serve communities. Lansing Project 2026 is based on the shared belief that we can build the world we want to live in and thrive together. It starts here. It starts now. Join the movement.
I love that intro.
I love that intro.
Me too.
Welcome, everyone. Hello. Welcome back to Lansing Project 2026, where we explore building the future that we want together. We are here because about 50% of the people that live in the Lansing area are not currently having all of their basic needs met. So we're here to talk about how we can do that together. And as part of that, we can also fight fascism by making sure that everyone is taken care of here locally. So I want to also remind everyone that this is a community project. And so we are really looking forward to, as Sneaky has shown by joining the conversation here, it's a community project. So we really look forward to seeing your comments and hearing what you think about the topics that we're going to cover. So with that, I am your co-host, Tanya Pizlowski, and I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Jerry Norris.
Hello, everyone. It's Jerry, and I'm with the Pledge. And I think Tanya and Lanier together sum up what we're all about. And just want to let you know we continue to do actions. We're not just making videos all the time. And I can't go further without commenting on how proud I am of the community for really stepping up and using your voice and showing that we can indeed have civic power here in Lansing. They're not going to come over and say, you guys are affordable. You aren't going to be able to convince your government that this is a wrong project. We're going to come in here and extract from you and socialize the cost across all of your health. And I think it was wonderful how we showed up, and it made them back away. I want to remind you that we blocked a shot. We did not win the game. The game is much bigger because the data center could be moving in different ways. So thank you to our friend Daya for introducing some ordinances. And they might be looking for another spot that they don't need our approval for. So we got to stay diligent. We got to stay on top of this, but we also need to be asking the questions. How did the Chamber of Commerce come in and stomp all over our city government and get them to believe that solid oxide fuel cells would be good for our community? How did they dupe some of our community leaders who may or may not have been happy with their op-ed at the end of the day into writing that op-ed? So we got a lot of work to do. But today the work's going to be around food. And I think we have two great people, maybe the best. You guys are like the champions in the whole city at who could be the best guest today. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we have Staci and Jose to tell some stories here.
Okay, Jose, do you want to go first?
Yeah. My name is Jose Ace. Thank you for inviting me. And I'm from Lima, Peru, South America. I came here to this country in '85. I started as an aircraft technician. I really was, I had the bug in my blood in terms of aviation through my family. And so my career was in aviation as an aircraft technician, avionics technician. And then in 2019, I decided to start a food business here in Lansing. It was called Tantai. And it was Mid-Michigan's first ever Peruvian restaurant. After 5 years, we got into a brick and mortar. But it was a great journey because I navigated the entrepreneurial ecosystem that's available here in town. Got into an incubator kitchen at the Allen Neighborhood Center. bunch of festivals. Anything that I could do to have that community buy-in, I try to do, and also educate people on what Peruvian cuisine was, so that
Delicious.
people can
so
appreciate it. Thank you. But yeah, and now I work for I'm an innovation counselor for Michigan State University, and I help entrepreneurs scale, start, grow, basically. So using my personal experience and their how do you say it, through the resources of MSU.
I never got that. I can never remember the name of the drink.
Okay.
You always remind me.
Oh, Pisco Sour?
Yeah, never got
Yes,
one from
yes.
you.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
We
yes,
still,
yes.
we might have the ingredients in the back room.
Perfect.
So
We'll do it
What is
after.
it?
Pisco Sour.
Pisco sour.
Yeah.
All right, Pisco sour party.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Delicious.
thank you for that, Jose.
Thank you.
I'm Staci Garcia Nagel. I am born and raised. I'm in Lansing, Michigan. I grew up on the north side of Lansing. I am really proud of and kind of started my food journey just based on what I saw both of my grandmothers do through their actions, both second generation immigrants, one from Lebanon, the other from Mexico, who came to the community with their families and kind of built a model on how to not just be hospitable, but to really care for the people in the community. And both sides of my family really didn't have much to give, but they found ways to continue to give and cook and take care of each other. And I had a firsthand view of what that looked like, and was always inspired by that. And so my love for food came from both sides of my family, and food, sitting at the table and breaking bread, was always associated with just love and laughter. And to me, to this day, it's still one of the most intimate things that you can do with someone, to build relationships and community. So with that, I went to MSU. I studied elementary education, taught English as a second language for a couple of years, and then went on to get a second degree and started working in the nonprofit sector, in the areas of domestic violence. I've always been an advocate of social justice, food justice, advocacy, and just taking care of people who are, I think, sometimes the most vulnerable, and wanting to be a voice and do everything still to this day that I can do to take care of people that are in need. So with that, I am now executive director of Southside Community Kitchen, where to me, it's the intersection of all the things that I love: feeding people in a community where we are in partnership with the Refugee Development Center. So with the people that I've always been very passionate about supporting. And so I've been there now for 9 months, and am really excited about the partnerships and opportunities that exist to continue feeding people, and also being a place where people can come and be seen and have a community that invests in them and takes care of them.
Well, I'm so petty. I gotta ask. Whenever somebody says they grew up on the north side, I want to know if that's the good side of the north side or the bad side. So did you go to Eastern or Sexton?
So I didn't actually go to high school here. I moved but all my family went to Eastern. So I grew up near St. Therese. So whether that's good or bad, it's Thomas and Turner Street.
And my response will be fine.
Okay. But I would have gone to Eastern if, yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Still a lot of rivalry.
Absolutely.
Big Red site, or the J-Dubs and the Quakers.
Oh yeah.
I'm definitely, my family, I hail from Quakers, so
All right.
I'd have to go with Quakers.
Quaker
on that
all
side.
right.
All right. So you're still part of the championship of the best guests we could have on there.
Crown remains.
You were gonna say something, Tanya?
I was just going to ask, I know, Staci, I appreciated that you provided some of that background of why the topic of food security is so important to you. But I think, Jose, is there anything, I'm wondering what makes this work maybe personal for you that you're doing, both in wanting to start the business and share the food of your culture,
Mhm.
and then to go on to help others, realize entrepreneurship in food systems as well.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoy what I'm doing. When I first started my food business, I had no idea what it would take. All I knew was the reason why I did it was, number one, I was longing for my cuisine, my culture in Lansing, where it wasn't represented. That was number one, and number two, I have three reasons why. Number two, yes, there was a void in the market for that. And number three, I've always been a people's person. I've always really been involved in the communities I've been in, or try to. And I meet people where they're at. I'm highly adaptable. And I thought that, running a restaurant or a food business, it requires people, to make the food, serve the food. So I decided to go because I thought I could lead people, treat people well, give them what they need, and so yeah, that's one of the reasons why I got into it, and from an operational standpoint, but then also, I mean, there's a lot of education we had to do. Everything was very intentional. I think the way that the business evolved, going into people's homes, educating about Peruvian culture, about each plate. So yeah, and now with that experience, I want to help entrepreneurs, be aware, of things that will come up, make better decisions, and break down barriers. It's like I said, I didn't know, I had no idea what a food business was. I never owned a business, and food business is I hear is the hardest one out there. And yes, it was. And but one of the things I do now is, I help the Latinx community, native Spanish speakers that want to open up a business, a catering business, a food truck. There's all these resources in English, and I've been just trying to, convert them into Spanish, so that, there's these barriers, but we can shatter them, and at least get people started in that confidence to keep going. Right.
Beautiful.
I don't know if you remember,
Uh-huh.
one of the very first times we met, we talked about your overall vision.
Mm-hmm.
And when you explained your overall vision to me, you didn't start with the food.
Uh-huh.
Remember, you started with the blankets and the pillows on the floor and sitting there. And will you tell us that part again?
Yeah.
Unless I'm putting you on the spot about something.
No. I'm trying to remember what, everything, going back to, the start of it all, no one knew what Peruvian cuisine was. I was being trusted by people in my community to go to their houses and provide an experience. And I thought that was a great opportunity. I mean, I was going to people's homes, I was cooking, I was bringing my pots and pans and plates, and but it was my opportunity to not only, educate them and appreciate this food, but also it's building a trust, And I think that, we didn't sit on the floors, but I know it's a metaphor, but that's what we did is we ate together, we talked together. And that was a really important part, I think, of the whole Tantai journey, is going to people's homes. I really felt that trust. I felt that people were listening. And I also was listening to what they were seeking in a restaurant, in a brand or cuisine. But that's how it all started, and that's how it all formulated. Always, just treat our team well and treat our customers, providing a new experience for them. So I think, it was a metaphor. That's basically what we did. We just hung out on the floor, basically, pillows, relaxed. That was always the whole idea. Yeah.
So I'm I want to hear the same from you too, Stacy, because you went right to it as well. It's breaking bad bread. It's the most intimate thing we can do with each other.
Yes.
But we also can't forget this Spanish playbook for the Latino food entrepreneurship. They're suggesting it out in the crowd right now.
I'm working on it. Yes,
Working on it.
absolutely. Yes.
Yay.
You did. You talked about that earlier.
Yes.
Yep. So maybe we'll come back to that for
Okay.
a minute.
Sure.
But
Mhm.
would you mind talking about that?
Sure.
Food is more than food. Housing is more than housing.
Yeah, food is definitely more than food, and I see it every day. I see it at Southside Community Kitchen every day. People come together, sit around a table. It doesn't matter what language they speak. They're breaking bread together. They're experiencing community. Some people hold seats and space for each other. I call it the kitchen the best free restaurant in town because it really is. The food's delicious, but it's providing more than just sustenance. It's providing community. It's providing an opportunity for people to connect at the human level and go above and beyond. I do believe that food is also food, and that when people are well fed, they can go out into the world and do. They're better prepared to tackle other things that they might experience, and without it, it's more difficult. And so for me, for our family, it's an expression. When you cook for my daughter, when she comes home to visit, she'll ask me to make carnitas or some of her favorite foods, and for her that equates to love. I'm home. It's home. It feels like home. When you're preparing Peruvian food and you are doing that for people who might be here from Peru and they're experiencing, it's home. I hear people in the dining room when they have beans that taste like beans from their home. They feel like they are at home. It's an experience. It's comfort. It's like a big hug. And for me, that's more important than paying a lot of money to go to a fancy restaurant. It's really keeping things simple at the human level and doing everything that you can to provide that experience.
And Stacy, can I just ask, because I don't think you've yet just given a brief description of what Southside Community Kitchen is. I think we've talked about what it does, but maybe just briefly do that.
I made the assumption that everybody here knows what it is, but
they're gonna know.
So Southside Community Kitchen is a community kitchen. We provide free meals Monday through Thursday to anyone in need. We serve at the Unitarian Universalist Church on Mondays and Wednesdays, and at Galilee Baptist Church on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We've been around. Next year, we'll be celebrating our 40-year anniversary. We were formed by 15 different churches that came together in the community and decided that they wanted to do something to ensure that people were well fed. And to this day, we've continued to do that. What makes us unique is that we are preparing culturally appropriate meals for our families. And so on Mondays, we serve vegetarian meals. On Wednesdays, we serve a halal meal. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, when we're serving at Galilee Baptist Church, we are serving mostly foods that come in as a base that are donated to us. We work with Food Rescue US, who donates. Last year, they donated nearly 17,000 pounds of food to us that we're able. It's perishable, highly perishable food. We collect on Mondays, and Chef Corey, who does an amazing job, takes those ingredients and prepares fresh meals from scratch with our volunteers, who are the heart of our organization. And we are serving right now 400 dinners a week to students who come to the Refugee Development Center for mentorship after school. And then Monday through Thursday, we're serving about roughly 500 meals to families that either are coming to our lunch service or are participating in RDC programming and classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're roughly serving about 15 to 1,700 meals a month, and it's amazing. And we're only a part-time staff of 4, and I'm mostly not in the kitchen cooking. I'm doing things that are related to our operations, but connecting with people on a daily basis, our guests. And we're only able to do what we do because of our volunteers. And Tanya is one of our volunteers,
Yes.
and also one of our board members now. So
yeah.
we are proud to have Tanya on our team. But hopefully I summarized that well.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was going to say I'm a proud new board member of Southside Community Kitchen, and to share, I aspired to that board position because of the impact of the work that you do, Staci, and that the kitchen does, because you really do, when you're there and working with the staff and with the folks that you serve, it is building community, right? It is being immersed in just building together and speaking with each other and understanding each other's experiences.
I'd like to add one more thing that I think that makes us unique, because our focus is on, of course, hospitality, but also serving with dignity. And so we make it a point to put table settings down for everyone. And our volunteers actually serve people at their tables. We serve the food to them, which is unique, I think, in
Absolutely.
the type of kitchen that we are. And we want people to feel seen. And we actually go around with milk and serve people milk as well.
Yeah.
And no one has to get up. And so when I say we are the best free restaurant in town, I
Yeah.
mean,
That sounds
and
awesome.
our focus is really on hospitality.
I've turned this.
You know that they have a button for
I'm
that,
trying.
Perry.
I have tried.
Party foul.
Do not disturb. It keeps overriding it. I've blocked 3 people so far. I'm gonna block you if you call me during our show.
It also seems like a challenge.
So sorry about that.
No worries.
All good.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask this. Our show is about meeting basic needs locally, and it's really incredible to have the contrast and the similarities to what both of you are offering to the community. I wonder if there are any things that you see that would be critical changes that we could make that would help address gaps in the food needs, especially maybe in the communities that you're working with. If there are specific examples, either from a entrepreneurship and, type of lens, or from a, how do we just serve community direct meals kind of lens. Any thoughts either of you have on specifics?
One thing that I've noticed and from my experience is that when you're starting something, especially a business, you need a little bit of you need someone to hold your hand a little bit, especially at the beginning. And I see that maybe sometimes there isn't too much of that. And I understand you're opening up a business, it's your baby, and you gotta put the work in for sure. But in terms of like just the licensing, getting licensed, the legalities, getting the permits and stuff, that can be a little tedious, and there's a lot of paperwork involved. And I'm not saying to skip that part, because that is very crucial. But at the beginning stages, someone to just be there with you during the process, I think is very important. And I've been trying to do that as much as possible, because especially when you're a first-time entrepreneur, especially in the food business, you have to, there's like a 30 to 40 page SOPs, that you got to put together. Those are your standard operating procedures. And it's not about just filling them out and whatever, but, I always, when I meet with, clients, I try to explain to them, like, this is the foundation, like, this is the foundation of what's to come, so the more simpler and more intentional we are at the beginning, then all those goals, all those, that what you're seeing in the future will unfold a little bit easier, so I think that at the beginning, I think it's crucial to have, systems in place where you can, you're holding, you're doing something together with someone, because
Yes.
it can be very, very tedious,
Yeah.
you know,
Walk the
and
journey with you.
Yeah.
and I remember one time we did an event together. We were in an event together, but you said something, man, that I've used so many times. But an entrepreneur is a very lonely road too. You know, you can be in your head. You're the only person that has this vision. You're thinking constantly how you're gonna do it, and no one knows how you're gonna do it. You know, and sometimes you don't know how you're gonna do it. You know,
Yeah.
and it just unfolds.
And that's scary too,
It is.
especially when you're putting your livelihood into something.
Yeah. So I think at the beginning, it's very crucial that, there's those resources of like, let's do this, like this is not, not that it's not harder at all, but this is how you do it.
Yep.
And we're going to go through the process so you can get started, and
Support
then,
each other.
Yeah.
I think especially back then, it seemed more lonely.
Yeah.
But now there's a lot of entrepreneurial support organizations, a lot of people
Yes.
that have gone through it a few times.
Mhm.
And I think, I'm not plugging myself. Reach out to these guys too. But if you need help starting something, reach out to the Fledge. We might not help you, but we'll give you Jose's phone number. We'll get you connected with the SPDC,
Yeah.
whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a lonely path.
No.
I started 3 companies before I even heard of an entrepreneurial support organization. So there's a lot of help out looks like people are chatting about it already.
That's
Nice.
wonderful.
That they need these resources. So,
And I just want to say that sometimes, you got to put yourself out there. That's what I did. Is I with the Lansing Economic Area Partnership, we did stuff with the Fledge here. Sometimes making a connection is more important than what you're seeking from that connection. One connection is a bridge to another connection. So something to think about.
Staci, does anything come to mind for you of where
So-
there are gaps or needs?
Absolutely. So, in my role, I'm always looking to build capacity. How can we serve more people? How can we serve more meals based on the space that we have and the time that we have? And I know that I think we're doing an amazing job. Last year, we served almost 18,000 meals. This year, we're on par to serving over 50,000 meals.
Wow.
And that's with still the same 4 part-time staff.
Mhm.
But one thing that keeps me up at night is thinking about what happens. We serve Monday through Thursday. So what happens Friday, Saturday, Sunday? There aren't a lot of food programs available to continue feeding people through the weekend. And when I think about our demographics, when I think about the people we serve, I think about, of course, the children, but also the adults that are struggling right now to make ends meet and having to make some really tough choices. And so in my mind, I'm always looking for ways, well, if I had a magic wand, what would it look like if I really was hoping to feed those people from Friday to Sunday. And one thing, back in 2016, 2017, I worked with the Small Business Development Center, and I had a few different food-based business concepts that I introduced. And Lori from SBDC was wonderful to work with. She did some market analysis. And my ideas were rooted in providing and cooking affordable food and making it accessible. I wish you would have been around. Maybe we could have worked together. But one thing I think of that just seems so easy, if we had the money and we had the time and we had the people, is introducing the idea of a food truck that could work with a commissary kitchen, provide meals for people that Friday through Sunday, and it maybe even beyond that, but starting there. And I think about the number of opportunities, especially right now, working with the refugee and immigrant community, and so many families coming and who had maybe food-based businesses in their countries looking for opportunities for entrepreneurship. Could there be a workforce development component to that? Could we help them realize their dreams? Could we prepare those meals and help feed people that need it, but then maybe additional people who might want to eat food that is available to them from other countries? I don't know, but I feel like that would be a dream. If I had a magic wand and I had the money to do it, I would love to see that happen. I'd love to see there being a partnership. I could see there being a partnership with community gardens and sourcing that ingredients from community gardens to help prepare some of those meals. RDC right now does have a community garden where the families are growing fruits and vegetables, or primarily vegetables that are specific to their countries. And I think that that's beautiful. It's probably happening too in other community garden spaces. But I'd love to see something like that happen, where people are coming together to create those additional opportunities and those additional meals. If it was a food truck, it could maybe deliver, or food van, whatever it is, deliver food to people, because I know that transportation can be an issue as well. So I think that there are endless opportunities, and I would love to see people coming together, maybe to get behind and add onto the idea of that concept.
It's a great idea.
Well, we just brainstormed all the solutions to the world like an hour ago.
All right, everybody go.
We're not ready. Right? What you thinking, Tanya?
Well, I was thinking, Jerry, I know one of the threads of how we take our shit back are cooperative models of organizing. And I'm wondering if there are some ideas you've had around cooperative models for food, meeting food needs.
You know, we got to go back to sovereignty. I think we've mentioned it at least once so far. It's really hard when you don't own the land to have that food sovereignty, and that then disconnects you from your culture, as you know. I think you guys proved at the beginning there, and there's always somebody that can tell you, get off my land, get off my property. They can wipe your crops out. You see this when you have the different revolutions, like in the Central African Republic and things like that. They always go after the farms. And I think that we need to start buying land. And I think sometimes we think that a single person needs to buy their own land, and then this person needs to buy their own land. But maybe we can't all do that right now, but we could come together as a group and start to buy land. And there's a lot of cooperative models. This is happening on the Southwest side right now with the Malcolm X School, the 3600 project, I think it's called, or something, at the corner of Holmes and Mount Pleasant.
Say more about what that is.
It's a development where they did take down that school, but they're really doing a mixed use that is going to have a grocery store, bank, housing, a medical center, community health workers. There's an opportunity to invest in that as a community investor. I think it's $50 is the minimum, which creates a weird problem, because if they give you a dividend check, it costs more to file your taxes. That's bigger than the dividend check. So there's always these like benefit cliffs or poverty traps that keep us from doing all the cool things. But we'll figure that stuff out. We can solve that together. But this is starting to happen around, the city, around the state, around the country, that people come together and, but buy our shit back and take it back. And so I think about, the mayor was upset about the data center and said, okay, you guys had all these great ideas. Let me see them. All right. So let's show them. Let's put something together and do something that the community really wants.
Yeah. All right. So everybody, this is like, raise your hand, put your name in the chat if you're like, I am in to cooperatively buy some land so that we can build a place to host a food co-op?
We've got food experts at the table. We've got a lawyer at the table. We've got some entrepreneurial support at the table.
Yes.
And I know out there we've got a lot of people that are thinking the same type of things. Why does RJR, a tobacco company, why is it RJR Nabisco? Wait, a tobacco company and a food company?
Yeah.
We don't have food sovereignty. They decide what we eat. They pick the ingredients. They don't tell us if there's pork in it or not.
Yep.
They just call it something else.
Yep.
And so I want food sovereignty for everybody so bad.
Yes.
And I'll throw a statistic out. I think there was 1,600 registered food producers. So that would be farmers and processors and all of that. And 17 of them are Black and 25 Hispanic,
Oh, wow.
maybe, no, 12 Hispanic. No, 25. Anyways, under 55
Yeah.
non-white out of the
Oh, wow.
1,600. And that's in Ingham County.
That's crazy.
Just in Ingham
I
County?
think
Wow.
no, it's got to be the state. Gotta
Probably
be
the state. Yeah.
But I think, Shara out in Dansville with Agape,
Oh yeah,
she's
absolutely.
the only woman Black farmer in all of Michigan.
Wow.
And it's just a bunch of white people are feeding everybody else. And I'm sorry to say it so bluntly like that, but how are you going to feed me soul food? How are you going to grow the things that you don't even know about? And I think it's so important for us to be able to touch home, touch our culture. And, I think the power of food in a lot is the smell, right? Because the smell is such a memory invoker. And it's so important that we do this. But if all the land's owned by, data centers, for example, where are we going to grow our food?
I was just going to share, I know one of the activists that I know, Teddy, shout out to you if you're watching, who hosts just local meals and invites neighbors over to do potlucks on a regular basis. And just almost everything we're talking about here is how important the role is that food plays in building community and just opening up the many ways. And again, ask folks to share ways that we can build community in both big and small ways through sharing food. And so just, again, things like having your neighbor over and asking them to bring a dish and you have a dish, so it doesn't require a huge lift by anyone, are ways that we can look at our work through a food lens.
Love that.
We're getting suggestions that we have a fundraising event.
Okay.
We have to have food
For the
at it.
co-op?
Yeah, for the co-op.
Woohoo.
And I do want to dissect just one little thing, because I think sometimes, I don't know if this is what you meant or not, but when people hear fundraising, they think donations.
Yep.
And I want to make sure that we are very clear. We're talking about you. If you're putting $100 in, you've got ownership of this. This becomes ours. This is something that we're going to buy together.
You are making an investment.
You're making an investment. But even that's called fundraising. I just want to, in case anybody mixed those words up. And I think it's a fine idea. So come on down to the Fledge and we'll start organizing it.
Or we call it a co-op sharers event, right? When the time comes. So when you come and you bring your
Investment.
funds, it's an investment and you walk away with something.
I love that.
I love
An
it too.
aspiration.
I'm ready to sign a check over.
You are?
I
How
am.
big a check
How do I
is
get
that?
my share?
Yes.
So I know that other people have been interested in what we're doing with housing and some of the other collectives that we're doing. And we want to get this decentralized. We want to have a model for this. We want to expand a lot more into food and farming. And I don't mean that we expand. We want this happening. We want the community doing it. going back to what I've always said, all I want to do is hood rat shit. I ain't trying to own nothing or do nothing anymore. I'm old.
Yeah.
Gonna be 60 this year.
Ah, you're so young.
Hurts.
It's just a number. Wouldn't it be great though if the land that the data center wanted to purchase, if it was available, and we could purchase that as citizens, private citizens, all have a stake and purchase that together?
I think it's very possible.
The definition
Very
of take
possible.
our shit back.
Yes.
And they say it's always going to be a data center, that we've missed all of the opportunity possible. So maybe they'll cut the price in half for us, since it's such a crappy little piece of property, and we can build something that the community really wants, which I think involves food trucks. I've seen a lot of suggestions online to maybe do that.
We're going to have to eventually, Jerry, get the spaces built for the people who are interested in how do we solve the food thing. I mean, I know we'll have that in what folks are sharing online, but begin to dig a little bit deeper in some of these ideas and see who's interested in getting their hands dirty.
Well, so far, almost every show, somebody showed up the week later and said, how do I get involved?
All right, so there you go.
So we do
There's a lot.
have a movement starting of people wanting to get involved. And, you know, it's not organized yet.
Yep.
So we do need to start kind of making these teams. And again, if you're already doing something and you're like, oh man, we're already doing it, please let us know. We want to help.
Yep.
We want to support it. We want to have you on the show. We want to learn from you, because this works, because our collective brain is so much smarter than any of our individual brains. Our collective culture blends all of the smells together. And it's a lot more fun and colorful when we're big and diverse.
Great.
Absolutely.
Agree.
Here.
Right.
What are we missing? What should we be talking about?
Yeah,
I know you guys had this great expectation when you walked in the Fledge this morning of what you'd be talking about. No, we kind of tricked them. I guess we said it was one meeting, and then next
Then we turn the cameras on and the lights. So be careful if you show up at the Fledge. You never know.
I'm excited about the potential, and I am all for discussing opportunities to build bigger tables and that are inclusive, that that talk about all the things that we need and coming together around food and solving the world's problems.
I really like your every damn day mentality, you know, because it really, that's what the whole basis of that whole phrase is about. Poverty doesn't take Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off.
Yep.
And we got to get that gap filled with you, for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
So what you guys doing on Saturday?
Who's cooking today?
What do you think, Jose? You know, anything we didn't talk about or anything you want to emphasize?
I think that, you know, I really like, I just like what you're doing. You know, I think that as long as I've known you, you are a person that, you know, you're educating the community too. And I think there's a lot of value in that too, you know, of what it takes to do something, or even providing some more details or statistics. I think that really helps us as a community, you know, grounds one another on what our community needs. I think that I love how you challenge, you know, the challenges, how you challenge, how do you say it?
Speaking truth to power.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's what I envision in my head I'm doing.
Well, you know, I feel like, you know, a lot of us in the community are passionate. You know, we have the passion, we have the drive, the determination, but knowing a little bit more, you know, just pushes that passion a little bit in the right direction too. So I just really appreciate the information, the education that you provide to our community. Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I've appreciated the fact that you two have come together to create this podcast and giving people a voice and a platform to share the things that are really impacting our community and bringing people on board who have those firsthand experiences too. So thank you for that.
Of course. So where are we going now? What we're
Wrapping
gonna
up?
do?
What are we going to do?
Yeah, what's the action that we can take? Right?
Do we all want to offer an action? Some things, but
My first action would be to visit Southside Community Kitchen. Come join us for a meal. It's open to everyone. There are no prerequisites. You show up and we're going to feed you. No questions asked.
And the food's good.
The food is good.
It's really
But
good.
do you have to show an ID, or do you guys
No.
ask for an ID or
No.
anything?
That's awesome.
No.
So
There are no
I
barriers.
said Pat Gillespie can show up to our free stand anytime he wants, didn't I? And Mayor Shore.
Yeah.
Same with you guys?
Same with us.
All
Yes,
right.
everyone is welcome. I would invite you first to come and experience it firsthand. Secondly, I would ask you to consider becoming a volunteer, volunteering with us. I think it's a genuinely a rewarding experience. It allows you to see firsthand and connect with people in our community and actually make a difference. And then third, if you're looking for somewhere to give or get involved and you're able to, $5 can feed one person. And so with the rising food costs for everybody, it's something that we think about. And we are preparing meals from scratch, and we have opportunities for people who can or want to give in that way to do that. So, and if it's not us giving to another cause that allows, like ours, where there are no barriers, allows additional access so that people can have access to food that they need.
I think your action's so important because there's so many things that are happening within that action. It's
Yep.
support for you guys, it's feeding somebody in the community, and it's eroding that stigma that people might have about who's hungry and who deserves it and doesn't do it. If I'm someone sitting in Grand Ledge or whatever, and I'm thinking, well, I'd really like to do that, but I don't want to go have a meal because I don't want to take that from somebody else. How do you kind of deal with that? Because I try to say that relationship forming is as important as the meal.
I say that it's the most important thing, really. It's building community. And so it helps to combat the stigmatism around it. So people who come to us, we aren't asking them, well, do you really need this?
Right.
We don't want to do that. There are people in the building that work in the building that come for meals as well to build that community. And we will continue preparing meals and not asking those questions because it's really rooted in dignity. Everyone who comes to our table hungry will receive a meal. I do see a question on where the kitchen is located.
Oh, yeah.
So we operate from the Unitarian Universalist Church at 5509 South Cedar. We serve there Mondays and Wednesdays. But to make contact with us or to volunteer, you can go to our website, which is southsidecommunitykitchen.org. Does that sound right? Yeah. And I think that's right. Southside Community Kitchen. Yes.
Should I check it?
.org. Hey, it sounds right.
I'll check it.
Okay, thank you. And on there, if you click on the link to volunteer, it will take you to our Sign Up Genius. New volunteers typically start on Wednesdays. It gives us the opportunity to work with you, train you,
Yes.
and prepare you for the experience. So that's the thank you. Thank you for verifying that. I think I think it's important to know where we are. So, and when we serve at the Galilee Baptist Church, it's typically groups and church groups that come, 5 or 6 members that that serve there. And these are members that have been serving for 15, 20 years. And that's the thing about our volunteers. Many of them have been with us for almost as long as we've been in existence. And so we're always looking to add to that base as well, and just appreciate all of our volunteers and the time that they give.
So if you are some rich dude from some other place and you show up for a meal to break bread with people, bring $5, right?
That would be
You
nice.
took
Yeah,
the
yeah,
meal
yeah,
that
absolutely.
someone else could have had. It cost $5.
Mhm.
So you and I will go, Frank, and we'll give her $10. What about you?
I think that what I'm hearing is what we're saying is just, get out there, get involved. And yeah, breaking bread with, people in your community is so important. I mean, like you said, if someone in Grand Ledge, how, like, should they come to this house of communication? And said, absolutely they should, because you're learning something. I mean, it's not, you're creating an energy really, and it's best when you're around, community members. You're getting to know the people. That's just a great experience, and very, how do you say, energizing and also influential. I mean, one act like that can propel something else, or someone else. So, we all come from different walks of lives, so in a table when you're eating together, you're learning and you're getting motivated, and that's just an energy that a community can create. So I would say, go get involved as much as you can, learn, and let that energy take over a little bit,
May I give you a plug?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because a call to action for you, because I think you're helping people realize their dreams, their entrepreneurship dreams. And so a point of access to that would be to become a member of MSU Product Center.
Yes. Yeah.
To work with you
Yes.
as a consultant. And you, to me, represent what I think a lot of, in my experience, immigrant and refugee families coming to the United States wanting to live the American dream, start their own food business.
Yes.
They're bringing their food, their culture. They want to share it with members in their community. You are the perfect person to help with that. So I see that in you, and I want to say it out loud, because I think that makes you unique, and you just happen to be at MSU Product Center.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah.
Is there a way they can reach you? Is there another website we should put in the comments?
I don't know the website, but it's, if you Google MSU Product Center, the MSU Product Center is wonderful. I mean, my colleagues are very knowledgeable. I mean, we help entrepreneurs from just getting started to scaling, to putting products on shelves. We really help them, navigate all those different regulations and processes and creating systems. The MSU Product Center is awesome. So definitely look at the MSU Product Center. We have some client webinars coming out too. So if you're someone that's looking to start a food business, or if you have a food business and you want to put your products on shelves, we can definitely help with that. Check us out, MSU, Michigan State University's Product Center.
That website looks weird, but
Does
it shouldn't have www. I don't know, but it's what's on here.
I feel like it's the full,
Yeah. Thank you.
If you get scammed,
It's my fault.
You're a lovely person, and everybody who I think has ever met you has said the same thing. So I want to second what Staci just said.
I appreciate it.
And such important work to be able to. This is my only language, and I don't like filling out the paperwork. It intimidates me. It stresses me out. And if I make a mistake, are they going to arrest me or something? And just, there's like books this thick about
So
the red
intimidating.
red tape in Dubai and stuff, and just being horrified of making that mistake and losing that dream forever. So the work's super important. So, and get comfortable, guys. Take some risks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yes.
You got a safety net right here.
Yes.
So, my call to action, if you don't mind me just kind of going, and it's, I think, to keep it related to food, all of the community gardens are starting to open up right now. All the urban farms are starting to open up right now. And we need you. Everybody needs volunteers to get things clean, get things moving. So now is a good time to go and find your people in a garden somewhere. They're out there. If you come to Urbandale and you're not vibing with us, all you got to do is go across the street, in any direction. And there's another farm or community garden. Go find your people, your tribe that are out there in the fields, and go get your hands dirty with them and make some more friends.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's my call to action.
That's great.
Mine is go eat with someone you don't know and learn about them.
What if they chew with their mouth open?
Okay.
That's all right.
You're listening
Everyone's welcome
to their words.
Yes.
All right. So we going out on that?
I think let's go out on that.
All right. Much love to all of you. Thanks you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Matter Day, I don't know, they've got a whole gallery of pictures about the kitchen that I'll share that link so that he can.
I think he
get
was
that
the
out there.
photographer who took those photos, if I'm not mistaken. They're
He's-
great photos.
He's the photographer that's taken all the great
Yeah.
photos.
Is that
right?
Matthew Day Smith Matter Day? Or is that someone different?
It is the same.
Okay.
The
one and
same
only.
Matthew you're watching?
Thank you for
What?
sharing those photos. Yeah.
All right, y'all.
See you next week.
Yeah. See you next week.
Same place and time.
Much love.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.